You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to the grand opening of Maison Chic's second location here at the Arden Emirates Plaza on Arden Road. I'm your host, Amita Prasadwe. Please stay tuned for highlights. So it's Maison Chic's second store launch tonight. What are your thoughts?
It's good because a lot of time I'm up this side and it's difficult for me to go all the way down that side to get something, so I can just come right here and run over to 212. That's my favorite.
That's your favorite?
That's my favorite, all the time.
So you're a past customer. Talk to me about your experience shopping at Maison Chic.
Oh, it's very easy because I'm not so big on fragrance. So when I enter the store, I'm like, what is it that I want? And somebody just comes over and like, okay, may I help you? What is it that you're looking for? Is it for an event or you just want something for like when you're going on the road? And they just help me from there and I'm good.
But wouldn't you want to smell the same for an event or if you're going on the road?
No, that's why I always choose two. One for the regular outing and one for an event. Yeah, because you know when you go to an event, your cologne have your kick like Jackie Chan.
Oh, it's
It have a kick.
So welcome one and all. This is the official launch of Maison Chic 2. Did you hear what I said? This is the official launch of Maison Chic 2. Maison Chic first opened its doors at the mini mall of Tropical Plaza, and now we're here at Arden Emirates, and this is our second location. We are a fragrance store that takes pride in providing our guests with the utmost respect, the utmost customer service that you can find anywhere. And don't forget that we are also licensed to bring all the brands that we carry. So we have brands like Carolina Herrera, Paco Rabanne, which you know, like these are like top brands from right around the world, right? And our tagline is explore your outer senses and unleash yourself. This explains perfectly what we do and the experience that we bring to all our guests. Every single one is important. So whether it be that you purchase a fragrance that costs $2,000 or you purchase a fragrance that costs $80,000, it doesn't really matter to us. Just as long as you're supporting us, you deserve the best and the best customer service from right around the world, right across the board. For us, we always say in the fragrance world that fragrance is the ultimate accessory. So when you're smelling good, people tend to sometimes forget what you look like, right? Am I right? Yeah, everybody can testify to this. And in our culture now, as Jamaicans, we have realized that even our entertainers are bringing this to light. So everybody is singing about what they're wearing, and everybody wants to smell hot, and everybody wants to smell sexy. So, you know, it's a very important thing. It's very important to what we do every day, like to keep yourself clean and to smell nice and to smell sexy is everybody's wish. And right now, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has come out tonight because this is a very important venture. We have struggled to help persons to understand that, hey, this is where we need to be. Like, you need to walk into a store and before you can even say hello, like customers are, or attendants are greeting you. We have the best trained attendants right across the board. Like when I say best trained, like, can I hear some hello? All right, so right now I'm gonna introduce all our fragrance consultants. Come on guys, come on, don't be shy. This is our team, and I'm proud to say that all of us here, we take pride in doing what we do. And it's all for you. And I want you to know my staff like by name. So from the end here, we have this is a very important night for Samantha because she actually manages this branch. So right here you have Samantha. And you have Celine. And from the staff of Maison Chic One, that's in Tropical Plaza, we have Cindy. And everybody know me, Pat Marie. And we have the ever so lovely, the girls them sugar digging. And we also have our newest edition, Ches. Give it up for Ches, everybody. So, with all that being said, I'm looking forward for everyone to continue supporting us. And this is a very important part of our program this evening. Now, everybody owns a smartphone. Now, I need y'all to take out your smartphones, please, right this moment. Yeah, it's already out. Now, y'all gonna go to Instagram. And it's at MAISONCHIC_JA. Right? Everybody has done that? Yeah, I see some people doing it. Thank you very much. Now follow us. Come to the store. Take pictures. Come and test. Because, guys, we provide testers for all our fragrances. So come and test. Don't be shy. It's a new age, people. And Maison Chic is bringing Jamaica to life with fragrances. Can I get an amen? Yeah. And, you know, we couldn't have such a great store without having great distributors, right? Yeah, so the people that take care of us, make sure we have the samples, make sure we have the gifts. And right now, I'm gonna call to, she's so smiling, I love her. We're gonna call to speak to us now, Marie, and she's our representative from Eurobrands.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hola. Very special welcome to the Panamanian Ambassador, the Panamanian Chief of Mission, and Mrs. Barrow. I am extremely pleased to have you guys here. Of course, you might, and all of you special guests invited. Guys, you know, it is very important for us to highlight how significant is in Jamaica to have a second branch for one of our clients. Maison Chic came to us maybe 2 years ago, but we have been in business for the past 6 years. You might be wondering what Eurobrands does. We have the license for brands such as Carolina Herrera, Paco Rabanne, Valentino, Nina Ricci, Antonio Banderas, Shakira, United Dreams, Jean Paul, Versace, and many. Trust me, our inventory is crazy. So you don't want to go in there. But what is important is I want you to realize that I did say license. What that means, you're probably wondering, do you need licenses to sell perfumes in Jamaica? You need license to sell perfumes, and I'm gonna tell you why. You wouldn't be able to enjoy that wonderful after work kind of, you know, we give you that value added that other companies, of course, cannot do. We not only give you the testers, but we are also empowering our staff. We give value added products, such as training for all the staff. And the reason why Maison Chic has the best training in the world is because we offer. We do that through our suppliers. Ana Maria Libertini is here from one of our suppliers, which is our main supplier. And we are very proud to have her here all the way. One of the things that I want you guys to realize is that all these efforts cannot be done without the team. Of course, my team is really busy tonight, and they're selling fragrances to all our clients, but I have Samantha here that is in charge of our marketing department. Anna is also here, that is our newest member of staff, and is in the administration department. one of the things that I want you guys to realize is that without the importance of the Jamaican market, we wouldn't be here. It is amazing for us to be able to see our clients prosper. So if any of you want to sell fragrances, so you know where to go. If you want to have it done well done. One of the things that I always say to my clients is, if it looks good, if it smells good, if it's good, we have it. If we don't have it, we are working on the license. And if we are not working on the license, it's because we don't think it will make sense in Jamaica. We are the best in the system right here. We are the best in the market.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to have you here. Working at Maison Chic, it has been really great. The family base, they have been really welcoming, not to mention the clients that we have catered to and the friends that we have made. So some of our, clients, they have become our friends. So with that said, I would like you to celebrate with me new beginnings.
Maison Chic 2!
So guys, now for the important aspect of it. Now for the first part, you can go.
Don't be don't pull another one, another one. Know your eyes, they all over me. Don't be shy, take a stroke of me. Get the vibe, it's gonna be lit tonight. No lie, not twice, pull another one. It's alright, I know what you want. The vibe's gonna be lit tonight. No lie,
So you're the new manager for the second location here. Talk to me about that.
All right, well, it has been really, really great working here. I'm kind of the quiet person, shy, and working here, it has forced me to come out of my shell to interact. And trust me, we have some lovely clients that we work with. The customer base here, well, not the customer base, but the staff here at Maison Chic, both at Maison Chic Emirates and at the other location, the first location, we have quite a different variety of characteristics. We have Patrice, who is very animatic. So, she's fun, she's courageous. We have Hubert, we have Celine, we have myself, we have Cindy, and newly we have Ches. So, it has been a great family base.
Talk to me about the fragrances you have available here tonight and what's so special about this fragrance store compared to another one.
Well, all right, so we have fragrances that are top of the line. So we have Carolina Herrera, we have Valentino, we have Jimmy Choo. And not just that, but what separates us from a lot of different stores is that we do it by law, we do it officially. So we obtain license. So when persons come to purchase and we tell them, we have to have the license to carry a specific fragrance. So if you don't see it, it's because we don't have that license. They're like, oh really, you have to have a license? So that's what separates us, not to mention the customer service. Like persons commend us on our customer service, so that sets us apart. Customer service, it's everything, and it's not everyone that can, put on a good show, who can stand, and if someone is being mean or if someone's just having a bad day, you don't, just take their energy and just give it back to them, but really take their energy and, give them a positive vibes. So that's what differentiates us.
You're a customer here at Maison Chic. Talk to me about your favorite fragrance.
Well, there are two of them here. First one for the designer would be Paco Rabanne Invictus, and that would be the Intense. And the second one would be from Bond Number 9. It would be Scent of Peace.
It's their second store. How does that make it easier for you to shop?
Well, I work right around the road, so I can just simply come by during my lunchtime if I feel the need to. However, I normally feel welcome in the Tropical Mall itself.
What's so special about their service here?
Customer service, you have to be big on customer service for you to attract certain customers, and that is one thing that they have captured. They had managed to capture customer service because it's very warm, very friendly, and believe you me, they are very experienced. They are knowledgeable about the fragrances as well.
Talk to me about your experience so far.
So far, it's been a wonderful experience. I've been enjoying every moment of this because it's something new, but I've been selling fragrance since I've arrived here. But it's easy because we actually study the fragrances that we sell, so we know what we are giving to the customers. So at the end of the day, we always please their wants and needs that they come to us about. So basically, I've been here for 2.5 to 3 weeks right now, and I've been savoring every moment.
How was the training?
Well, the training has been very educational. Yes, so they have been training us in ways that I didn't know that my nose could have reached those levels. I didn't know my nose had those skills because we have been learning new things.
Why should people come out to the shop location here on Arden Road or the one in Tropical Plaza?
Tropical is kind of a more established branch, but Arden has a lot of fragrances that maybe you will not find at Tropical right now, but it's a nice branch to come because they have varieties. And it's a new place, so they want it to be as much as Tropical itself because people actually know Tropical already. So basically it's a new experience, but it's similar to Tropical because the customer service is still warm and inviting as in Tropical. So it's a great place to come.
Thanks for joining us here at Maison Chic's second store opening right here in Arden Emirates Plaza. I've been your host, Amita Pasadweb, and you're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test. It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, free eye test.
Free eye testing is back and it's here to stay. Island Eyewear offers free eye testing every day, all day at all locations island-wide. Conditions apply. Make your appointment today at www.islandeyewear.com or call us 630-1180. Island Eyewear, your style, your price.
It's Island Hour, free eye test.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
It's arguably the most significant invention to come out of Jamaica in the last 2 decades. A medical doctor, a mechanical engineer, and a computer scientist used technology to develop a way to train heart surgeons across the globe more efficiently. The heart simulator developed at the UWI-Mona is now being used by several universities across the world to train surgeons. Professor Daniel Kaur, who worked on the project, says after shelving the first prototype and moving on to other projects, he and the other inventors involved received a call that would change everything.
So in late 2007, we heard from Dr. Richard Fiennes, who was at the time chairman of the American Board of Thoracic Surgery. He had seen a video that had been released along with a paper that we had published. And in the video, we were just showing a small clip of what the heart looked like while, in operation, in use. And he wrote to Dr. Ramphal, basically did a little internet search, tried to find him, sort of located an email address for him at UWI, by which time he had already left UWI, and wrote him and said, I saw this video, is it real? Because if that's real, I'd love to come to you to see it, and would you be willing to set it up for us, because we are examining possible simulation environment scenarios for the cardiac surgery training, and this is something that we would like to sort of take a look at just to see what it can do and whether it's good for us.
After some persuasion, the team decided to go to the University of North Carolina to set up the prototype.
First time set up, right? So all these prominent heart surgeons had just come in to take a look at what's going on, and everybody was kind of blown away at just how realistic the heart beating was, and how realistic the whole environment was. So they took out the video footage and took that to their annual meeting that year at the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. And with that video at that meeting, just sort of, it caught the eye of everybody who was at that symposium that year. And that ended up getting us invited to technology symposium for cardiothoracic surgery. And we got re-invited year after year.
Soon after that, the UWI-Mona developed heart simulator was a sought-after tool when it came to training heart surgeons.
It then got to a point where other places wanted one. They kept saying, how can we get one of these at our institution? So it was kind of around that time, that was started around 2009, that we started talking about how to get multiple ones of these. And by around 2011, we'd actually built them. So in that interim, we had negotiations, sort of thought about how to sort of make it a little more structured and sort of help ourselves get to the point where we could be talking to people who might want a license.
The simulator then ended up in some of the top medical schools in North America, revolutionizing the way heart surgeons were being trained.
Harvard's Mass General Hospital, University of Rochester, there was a University of North Carolina, Johns Hopkins, Vanderbilt, Mayo Clinic, University of Washington, and Stanford.
This was the first time ever heart surgeons in training were being exposed to real-life circumstances.
Kind of what I mentioned before, where you might have the pig's heart in a bowl, or I suppose if you're working with a cadaver, which is going to be realistic, but it's a dead person, but nothing where the heart is, or actually a live pig. That is the closest that you could come if you wanted to get a full-blown operating room scenario where you are standing around, there's a apparently living, beating heart, and you have to give the right instructions, and you have somebody controlling a pump, somebody controlling anesthesia, and then you have your partner in front of you, you're supposed to be giving the right instructions, and you're learning not just the specific procedures, but also the management of your team. The only way you could really reconstruct that without having a real patient on the table was a live pig. That was the closest you could come. So what our simulator was providing these guys with was a context in which they could reconstruct any scenario they wanted, when they wanted, at the time they wanted. So from the purpose of teaching, if today's lesson was to teach you something that hardly ever happened, they could make sure it's scheduled what's going to happen because you set the simulator up to deliver that. So for them, that was a great opportunity to change how training in cardiac surgery could work, right? And at the same time, you're getting this high fidelity model, right? So you're not putting any patients at risk. You have this model that looks real. It bleeds when you cut it. It has a pressure. It shows you a computer trace that looks like it's a real trace on a monitor. So for all intents and purposes, just because you set it up, it's not real. But for all intents and purposes, it looks like a patient on the table.
The heart simulator has not only used technology to totally revolutionize the way heart surgeons are trained, but it is also helping to better equip surgeons to deal with real-life situations in real time.
There are some well-rehearsed procedures, as in over time, they've developed some procedures to respond to a particular kind of emergency. But if you as a resident only get trained via the operating room, then the only scenarios that you become familiar with are the ones that you see. Now, of course, if you see 100 cases, 200 cases, then they start thinking, okay, you're ready, you're competent, you can go, and you are going to be certified as capable of practice on your own. But what if the scenario that we're worried about isn't one that occurs so frequently? It might be 1 in 1,000 cases, it might be 1 in 2,000 cases. those are still potentially life-threatening. You still want somebody who is going to now become an attending to know how to deal with them. And in the old situation, before our simulator, the only way they would have really gotten that exposure is through a textbook or somebody telling them, you know, if you ever encounter this, this is what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of a hypothetical, and the response is really a kind of theoretical response, or it's a hypothetical one anyway. With a scenario, with a simulator, we can now say, okay, next week's lesson going to be how you deal with this. And I can tell you what you must do, and I can set up the simulator to make that emergency occur. So while you're doing your thing, you know, suddenly something happens and you say, what's going on? And it's for you to A, recognize that there's that emergency going on, and then B, act appropriately. So you can actually now practice that, which is not something that you could have done easier before.
The Heart Simulator is the first UE patent to be commercialized, and with the recent commitment from Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke to pump more government resources into research and development, it is hoped that more patented inventions coming out of the University of the West Indies can be commercialized.
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now, 'cause we're winning right now.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We all can agree, education, whether through our skills, talents, or knowledge, is an important tool for driving economic growth and development. On today's program, we'll be visiting some educational institutions to see just how our nation, through the work of our nation's youth, will become the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and as the Prime Minister adds, retire in paradise. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome to another episode of your Jamaica Magazine. There's so much planned for you today, but first, let's catch up on the latest stories making the news. It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up.
Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Submit using the application form on our website jis.gov.jm.
Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation.
The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132.
You may also email Heritage Essay, Heritage Poster, and Heritage Photo at jis.gov.jm.
Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28th. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, October 9. Government pulled in $202 billion in revenue and grants for the April to July period of the 2019-2020 fiscal year. That's 2% higher than budgeted and 8.9% more than the corresponding period last year. The figures were revealed in the 2019-2020 Fiscal Policy Paper Interim Report for September, which was tabled during Tuesday's sitting of Parliament. The document revealed higher than targeted tax revenue, which stood at $179.8 billion, and non-tax revenue totaling $19.4 billion. Gains have been attributed to increases in international trade taxes, as well as revenue from production and consumption. However, capital revenue and grant collections recorded lower than anticipated numbers. The dip in the capital revenue was due mainly to lower than budgeted pay-as-you-earn targets. Slower than projected implementation of grant-related projects affected the grant collections target. In the meantime, the House of Representatives yesterday approved the first supplementary budget for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The revised budget, which sees a $50.15 billion increase in spending, was passed during a sitting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government will be embarking on a routine infrastructure maintenance program. This, he says, will ensure that infrastructure failures don't take the state by surprise. Mr. Holness adds that the routine maintenance program will complement the now completed restructuring exercise with the International Monetary Fund.
We're not just repairing the road, we are also changing the water mains, installing sewer where necessary or possible, and taking the time as well to install the fiber optics for telecommunications.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at the recent opening of a $12 million state-of-the-art ICT center at Penwood High School. The center is fully equipped with 42 new computers, audiovisual equipment, a 65-inch television, high-speed internet, and Wi-Fi. The Prime Minister, who is Member of Parliament for the area, committed to renovating the high school. Upgrades are to include the building of additional classrooms, as well as the rehabilitation of the auditorium, staff room, and general administrative facilities.
I'm going to ensure that the program is placed on a fast track. But I know that the ministry's budget wouldn't be able to do it all. So I am going to mobilize some funds as well to support the government's effort. So it will be a joint venture. And we hope to have this done, and I see where we could actually start it early next year.
In the meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government has begun the procurement process to acquire new water pipelines to service corporate area communities. Mr. Holness says the new mains will virtually eliminate the Kingston metropolitan area's water challenges.
Government has allocated significant resources to replace the line, and we have started the procurement process for a new pipeline which will run from the 6 miles area, interconnect to that blue line that you're seeing coming along Mandela, and it will go all the way down to Spanish Town Road, onto North Street, and carry water all the way down to Sabina Park.
Mr. Holness says the procurement process for more water trucks has also started. While those measures are underway, the Prime Minister has instructed the National Water Commission to divert and redistribute water to affected sections of the corporate area. The NWC has also been providing water tanks to vulnerable households. Still on water, residents of Top Hill and Retirement District in Malvern St. Elizabeth now have free access to the commodity following the opening of 2 water shops in the communities. St. Elizabeth is the latest parish to benefit under the government's initiative to construct water shops as a means of addressing shortage in parishes that traditionally suffer from severe drought conditions. The Top Hill facility was constructed at a cost of $8.9 million and serves over 1,500 residents in the community and its environs. The Retirement District Water Shop was built at a cost of $9.7 million and will benefit 3,000 residents. The facilities will each provide 16,000 gallons of purified water on a daily basis. Speaking at the opening ceremony on Thursday in Retirement District, Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie said 4 more water shops would be constructed in St. Elizabeth.
2 more will be constructed, and I hope, Mr. Wilson and Mayor, that at least we can complete at least 1 more before the end of the calendar year. And we are going down to Myersville, and then we're going to Trial in Junction with the other one.
The other 2 water shops will be built in Pedro Plains and Brompton in the parish. Minister McKenzie says $24 million will also be provided to the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation to purchase 2 new water trucks to service the 2 water shops. In other news, government is to put in place a gift policy which will formalize fundraising activities for charitable donations to the public health sector. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the ministry is finalizing discussions to implement the policy.
We want to encourage giving, but encourage it in a way that maximizes the impact. So having the needs clearly specified, having a protocol for how you give, and to ensure that there's appropriate levels of transparency, accountability to giving back.
Dr. Tufton was speaking at the recent handover of wheelchairs to the ministry and the Kingston Public Hospital. They were donated by the Wheelchair Foundation through local partners, the Rotary Club of St. Andrew and Skills Training Institute Operation Friendship. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
More and more students are being inspired to pursue entrepreneurial opportunities from as early as high school. Let's see how the Junior Achievement Company of Entrepreneurs is accommodating our future business leaders.
our business, we are currently making special glasses that are directly aimed at visually impaired or blind people.
I am the treasurer of Humble Ground Planting Supplies, and these are my seeding trays.
This is our first bag, one we made for feedback at school, and the children loved it.
Well, I am the CEO for Senior Eagles Company. Here with me today is my manager, Rakina Genius, our finance manager, Simone Wright, our human and resource manager, Janelle Anderson, our manufacturing and logistics director, Selvin Nicholson.
These grade 9 students at Jamaica College and Nain High School mean business. They're learning entrepreneurship by running real companies with real problems, real products, and real potential. They are part of the J-Seed program organized by Junior Achievement Jamaica and funded by USAID. At Nain High School in St. Elizabeth, students were using shoe boxes to protect their books and to give their school bags a more desirable shape. But there was a problem.
They are not long-lasting. As soon as you put them in your bag, by the end of the day, it's either crushed. If the rain falls, it wets.
The Senior Eagles Company spotted a business opportunity and developed the drop-it-in internal bag casing made from recycled 5-gallon plastic bottles. They do a better job at protecting valuables and shaping school bags than shoe boxes.
Here we have our manager dividing the jug into two halves when they're cutting the jug. This is our prototype, our work day while we were building the bag.
At Jamaica College, Vision is using modern technology to design glasses that warn the blind or visually impaired of obstacles in their path.
When infrared sensors, they're going to bounce off an object, and when the light bounces off an object, it will then come back to the process, which will process it, and go to the vibrating motor, which will then indicate to the wearer that there's an object in front of you.
Under J-Seed, 41 schools across Jamaica have added entrepreneurship to their grade 9 curriculum. Using the Junior Achievement Workbook as a guide, the students cover introduction to entrepreneurship, developing business ventures, conducting operations, and dissolving or expanding a business.
This really put me in the whole matter of the student-centered approach, wherein that it's not a chalk and talk. It's really getting into the brains of these students. The boys love it. They like to actually communicate with each other. They like to express themselves. And of course, it helps them to be more involved in the learning process.
At Nain High, the program is also student-centered and hands-on.
They sit and decide on what they want to do. They then go out and seek their own materials. They get back into their teams and they work on their product by themselves. I go around and I supervise and share ideas with them, ask questions and get feedback from them as well.
And based on the feedback, both the businesses and the students are growing.
Some of them have become more confident. They're certainly more creative, and they're now gelling more with each other because they've had to work together to create their products.
We noticed that students in our school, they were putting their uniforms in their bags when they changed for PE. So after PE, their uniforms would get crushed.
To solve the problem, our Crafters Group, an award-winning recycling company, decided to produce waterproof gym bags from recycled plastic bags.
After we found the plastic, we washed them. The plastic is then dried, placed over an ironing board. We put fabric over the plastic and we iron the plastic. We let it cool, and after it's dried, cut it, then we line the plastic that's on the inside. Then we wrap cardboard with some of the plastic and then we line it. Then we turn over the bag and so it's made from inside.
The students are also learning the importance of corporate social responsibility. Businesses at Nain High School use Labor Day to give back to the community.
It's a wonderful program because it's helping children all over Jamaica to showcase what they're capable of in terms of creativity, innovation.
I feel like this program, it's very great because it also exposes us and teaches us that there's many different good ideas out there and shows us that we should be confident in our idea and try to bring it out as best as possible.
And there's even more exposure for these young entrepreneurs through competitions. For example, students can create commercials for their businesses and enter them into the Marketing Maven competition. There's also the FedEx Access Award, which awards businesses for being environmentally friendly and globally focused. The JC program, cultivating the spirit of entrepreneurship in grade 9 students and imparting profitable skills for work and life.
Watch as we share another area of youth development in which the government is heavily involved.
The Citizen Security and Justice Program, CSJP, is a crime and violence prevention initiative. It was developed by the Ministry of National Security to enhance security and justice by addressing the social and economic factors that help foster crime. In 2010, the program launched an outreach initiative called CSJP's Men with a Message.
It is a group of messengers who are reformed men whose stories are aimed to inspire other young men.
Well, I've been a member from the inception of the group from 2010. My role is giving tips and caution to at-risk males, and just to show people that change is possible.
CSJP come and put me on the platform for a better life. My role in the program, I have to encourage my fellow member that we have a task and a journey. My role is also to empower the young youth them.
They were recruited using different criteria. There had to have been proof that they had been out of crime and violence for at least 2 years. They also had to get recommendations from the police, from the community members, and from especially like the community development committees. We must firstly understand that it's a journey. And if they were coming from the other extreme, you know that naturally a lot of workshops, a lot of personal development activities would have taken place along that journey. So they've been able to adjust their behavior. They've been able to reflect within themselves and say, if there are other youngsters who are looking up to me, the onus is on me to act in a particular way.
My name is Derek Jones. I'm a member of Men with a Message. I was in Central Lockup for around a month. I was a part of the problem, robbing people, park and corner, defend ends and turf, till end up go out fall on the wrong side. When I first wake up in jail, I can't believe that I'm in jail I wake. So from there, my mindset started thinking different, knowing that jail was not the right place for me at that time.
I'm Kitsi Brian, and I'm a Man with a Message. Being in institutions and seeing what life is like, you just have to make a decision. Is either you're going to continue like this or you're going to make amends of your life. I decided that coming back into civilization, that I wanted a change.
We definitely see where the Men with a Message initiative, I mean the CSJP on a whole, but also in particular the Men with a Message initiative, has been having significant impacts on the youngsters across this island. One such evidence is it being the demand that is there for the program, for the young men to come and speak at the different schools. And not only have they been asked to come and speak, but there have been many calls for them to return.
I remember a particular place, it was somewhere over in St. Andrew, but there was a young man there who said that he knew me before all of this, and you know, when I gave a message and I finished and the young man came, you know, he was crying, tears running down his face, and he was asking me that if I don't remember him, but honestly I didn't know him, but he said that he knew me from time before, and that he had loved the transformation. I can safely say that young man is a member of the National Engineering Institute, which is NTI. So to see that I was the person that inspired that, wow, that's great.
They are representing a brand that is synonymous to peace building, a brand that is synonymous with law and order, right? So the Men with a Message are always expected to be good ambassadors of the program, of the CSJP, and of the Ministry of National Security, which is our parent ministry.
Don't follow a friend or not, when I have nowhere going. Badness is madness. Stay in school. Garvey, teach with that anywhere we go. Read something before we reach. Even if we sit down and waiting on the people, we need to read something. Read a book, and you would see the difference between you and the man when I read.
Favored, preferred, the prepared mind. We have the power, you know, to form and shape our future. And I'd like to think that, you know, if you want good for yourself, then you'd want to choose a positive way too. Other people are doing what they want to do. So if I have a dream, I don't see the reason why I can't go there and achieve it, just like any other human being.
We've been on the topic of improved educational opportunities, and we continue our focus with even more initiatives that our government has spearheaded in the hopes of boosting our education sector. Here goes. Number 1, 120 primary school teachers across 7 parishes will be trained and certified in the use of the Linda Mood Bell learning process to diagnose and correct various language-based learning disabilities in students. Number 2, some 52 high schools are now participating in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's Twinning of Schools initiative to expose students to academic and extracurricular programs that are not currently available at their own schools. More than $600 million has been allocated to pay the 2020 examination fees for high school students who are on the Program of Advancement Through Health and Education, otherwise known as PATH. And number 4, the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation will be increasing its academic instruction from 4 to 5 days per week. This is while it offers 3 new subjects under its Program for Adolescent Mothers called PAM. These are just a few of the ways in which our government is making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and of course, educate our people. Our children need all the help they can to prepare for the Primary Exit Profile PEP exams. One sure way of getting them ahead of the curve is a new PEP Tutor app. And guess what? It's FREE free.
What I liked about the app is that it helped students to understand basics in different subject areas.
I found it wonderful because it helped me in my language arts, it helped me to pass my exam.
PepTutor is a free application that works on all Android devices by default for students preparing for the primary exit profile exam to practice with. They can talk to the device, whatever device it is. If it's a smartphone, tablet, a Google Home device, or a smart TV, once it's Android. And it asks them questions, and they can respond by either typing or talking to the phone.
Talk to PepTutor. Sure, let's get PepTutor.
The idea came out of a discussion that was on Twitter where persons were complaining about the exam, how difficult it is and how difficult it is to find questions to practice. So, being in IT and always trying to use technology to solve problems, I decided to use technology to try to help them. Currently we have science, mathematics and language arts, and we're working on adding social studies and the ability questions. Before now, I got questions from the practice exams that the students were using to prepare for the PEP exam. And now I have a teacher from my primary school, which is Wakefield Primary School. She's assisting me to put the questions together because I'm not a teacher, I don't know how to test students. So she's preparing the questions and I'm just adding them to it. The app works by simply asking the students questions, and it asks multiple choice questions and short answer questions. So if a parent can sit and go through the questions with the student, if the answer that is provided by the student is incorrect, the app will tell the student that the answer is incorrect and tell them which one is correct or which answer is the correct answer. It doesn't show you how to work out the questions. So if it's a maths question and it says 2 + 3 is 5, it won't show you how to add 2 and 3, but it tells you that the answer is 5 and whatever answer you gave is incorrect. Just like any other exam, is to keep the students practicing constantly. You don't want to wait until the last minute to, and put them under additional stress and pressure. So from September, or even before, even during whatever holidays, to have the students, go through the different subject areas, sit with them on the weekends, and help them to get prepared. The PEP app will definitely assist students right across the board, whether they're rich, poor, or whether they're in the country or in town, getting better results in the PEP exams. I believe the PepTutor app will assist in us achieving our Vision 2030 goal by making access to education a lot easier for students, whether in Kingston or whether in urban or rural areas. And I think, by utilizing technology, will make learning more fun for students, and they will eventually do better.
And that's all the time we have for you on today's show. But if you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or our YouTube channel. Don't forget to keep up with us on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. And just before we go, here's food for thought from author Anthony D'Angelo. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Our
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access. Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV is here at the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. This year's conference is governed under the theme, Expanding Our Borders, Securing Our Investment. I'm Javon Keys and I'll be bringing you the happenings of this year's conference.
Someone once said that all that glitters is not gold. Well, the JSC has proven them wrong. Just look around and you'll see the glitter. And of course, the last time I checked, 50 years is a golden anniversary. Yes? So, there. Need I say more? Now, we have a great evening lined up for you, so I'd like to invite you at this time to just make yourselves at home. Relax. And as you're doing that, I'm going to now make way for the opening remarks and welcome. And to do that, we invite the Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange to join us on stage. Please welcome Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest.
Welcome to the JSC's Regional Conference on Investments and the Capital Markets. This year is particularly special for us because, as you know, we stand on the threshold of our 50 years anniversary celebration. And you can clap for that. Its longevity stands as testament to its founding fathers, including the Honorable Alfred Rattray, Mr. Esau Edward Gale, Mr. Raglan Solomon Golding, Mr. William Sams, and former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Edward Seago, who at the time was Jamaica's Minister of Finance. We are pleased and honored to once again host this premier regional investment event in collaboration with our international and local lead sponsors, Jefferies, NCB Group, along with other sponsors, all of whom have continued to consistently support us. Every year when we call on them, they say yes, because it's a good conference. Our conference is now in its 14th year, and it has become a staple on the menu of financial events for all our stakeholders. To our sponsors, investors, and those who make the annual trek to this event, we feel honored that through your support, we have been able to assist with the growth and development of the capital markets. This year's theme focuses on expanding our borders while securing our future. It recognizes that regionally, we're a part of an evolving global market, which is rapidly changing to such an extent that we hardly recognize it. However, it is imperative that we embrace it if we are to achieve real economic growth and prosperity. We know that as a region, we are small, given our combined population compared to the larger, more developed markets. But the size of a population should not matter in the context of globalization, where equality can be driven by technology, which has itself altered what was considered normal. A normal where capital flows to market considered to be developed. But now with technology, normal can mean that capital flows to our markets. What if our region were to be seized of the fact that capital can and will flow into our markets if we reposition ourselves and beckon investors globally to a region where capital sustainability is practiced and where there is a balance between financial and social returns, which itself accelerate growth. And it is to this end that we are going to be launching the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, because we feel that capital will come to our market whilst we promulgate the social. This concept of social impact investing having a place beside our financial investing, while fairly new, when practiced, shows positive correlation between capital efficiency and social advancement. Social inequality matters economically, as countries with greater levels of inequality are more economically fragile. This means the capital market and players within it who can merge technology, products and services, innovating a symbiotic relationship between capital and social, will ensure that our regional economies achieve exponential growth. It is within this context that the Jamaica Stock Exchange will launch the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange this evening, as we believe that we must play a role in this value chain. Further, as a member of the UN Sustainable Stock Exchanges, we are charged with a mission to assist in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This social stock exchange intends to link social and financial capital by facilitating a platform and an inclusive framework for social returns through donations and social and financial returns through social impact investing. Again, welcome and enjoy the rest of the evening's proceedings.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase one, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase two, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
Stay with us. More happenings from the 14th Regional Capital Market and Investment Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. We'll be right back.
I'm 36. I'm a husband, a manager, and still very good looking. In 2 hours, I have the most important meeting of my life. But first, it's time to play. Suzuki Vitara.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're tuned into BATV's coverage of the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Market Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Let's head to the stage where we'll have the chairman's address.
Effective diversification follows a key principle that risk is inversely related to the number of differentiated types of assets that make up the product. To really have a well-diversified product means to add strength or a backbone to the product by giving it sufficient variety and optimal mix which can withstand the conditions posed by those risks we can and those we cannot control. A good way to look at your product, and by extension your organization, is to see it as a sum of parts. Is each component so unique that it achieves a different purpose, or are all components doing the same thing? Your product becomes a solution once you have achieved the sum of all parts. But at the heart of diversification, too, is financial inclusion. Making financial products and services and information available to all individuals, irrespective of their net worth, has to guide the way we craft our products and services. Fintech has quickly become an integral tool in facilitating financial inclusion, especially among today's customers who want high quality, low cost, and convenient alternatives, and whose lives are centered on technology. The growth we need to achieve within the region will not come by offering financial opportunities only to the wealthy. Economic growth is fueled when everyone has a chance to participate. When carefully diversifying a product, service, or portfolio, the word risk is unavoidably present. While risk means different things to different people, the common question, whether you are the financial service provider choosing assets to create a product or the consumer of the product, should always be, is it really worth the effort? We ask this question because in search of growth, there is always a temptation to search for growth. Because in search of growth, there is always a temptation to reach for the alternative with the highest returns, even when we know better. Bigger is better, we are sometimes told. However, real growth always carries a large element of sustainability and longevity that most times will not be achieved by chasing only supernormal returns. And we can all recall the Ponzi schemes, but I'll leave that for another session. Effective diversification of product offerings or revenue streams is therefore the only way to ensure sustainable, prosperity. Whether in the household, the firm, or the economy. Economic conditions are favorable. Interest rates are at all-time lows. Technology and the access to it has seen exponential growth. there is no better time than the present to reimagine the way we see growth or reshape our thinking to capabilities on these advancements, to capitalize on these advancements. The financial services industry in Jamaica has come a long way, and I must use this opportunity to commend industry players who have taken the strategic decision to become disruptors in the industry. You have all done very well in achieving a good balance between technology and the needs of today's customers. And many of you have realized the shift from brick and mortar services requires alternatives that are client-focused and relatable. The disruptive way of thinking needs to live in our DNA while we search for sustainable growth, as it opens up significant opportunities to reach new customers and expand the potential of all stakeholders. We do not have to look very far to see a shining example of product and service diversification than the Jamaica Stock Exchange. A few years ago, and few enough for me to remember at this age, the stock exchange was almost solely dependent on market activity revenue. A significant step was made in making decisions to diversify their financial service offerings, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange Group today is the largest offering of trust services in the country. It is a significant improvement, and apart from being number one for equity transaction, the stock exchange has transformed itself into an extremely profitable company through this diversification. What is the key takeaway, ladies and gentlemen? Globally, financial markets continue to undergo significant change on a daily basis. The improvements in and growing access to technology continues to make investing today significantly different from what it was even a year ago, and the region is no exception. Additionally, developing countries such as Jamaica and others within the region have become more attractive investment targets as they keep up with this growing pace. It now seems the norm for Jamaica's investing environment to make the international news, with our stock market beating returns everywhere else in the world, and more recently, the Bank of Jamaica's BFIT inflation target campaign. This confidence can help serve as a significant push in expanding our reach around the world. With this change comes a greater need for diversification, which will encourage the creative thinking and innovation needed to spur growth.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Welcome back to the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Let's head back to the stage.
It's a pleasure to be here in the capacities of CEO of NCB Capital Markets and President of the Local Securities Lobby Group, the Jamaica Securities Dealers Association, JSDA. NCB Capital Markets is proud for a third consecutive year to be the lead local sponsor of the annual JC Conference. The conference is a staple in the capital markets calendar, not just locally, but regionally. And our continued association with this event tangibly demonstrates our commitment to the growth of the regional markets. The role of the capital markets and the importance of its various players in facilitating GDP growth is generally not understood or at best not fully appreciated. The starting point for any business enterprise is capital, or risk capital for emphasis. For a developing country, access to bank financing is relatively good, but to access it, you need risk capital, a type of funding that falls outside the mandate of a commercial bank. Capital in the form of equity or some form of subordinated debt is a key ingredient in credit expansion. As such, the capital markets provides a bridge for those that are in need and those that have risk capital to invest. The capital market also provides infrastructure development capital that has strong socio-economic benefits through construction of roads, water and sewer systems, housing, energy, telecommunications, public transport, etc. Moreover, the capital markets promotes private-public sector partnerships to encourage participation of the private sector in productive investments. The need to shift economic development from the public to the private sector to enhance economic productivity has become inevitable as regional governments continue to be financially constrained. In Jamaica, the size of the non-banking financial system, which are active participants in the capital markets, stood at approximately 1.7 trillion Jamaican dollars, exceeding that of the banking system. Therefore, if you agree with the points made earlier, then the data suggests that the opportunity for capital markets-driven growth is tremendous, especially at a time when the government is net repayer of debt. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are to achieve the elusive 4 to 5% GDP growth, a well-functioning capital markets is necessary. I must take this opportunity to commend the government on the work it has done during the last calendar year in facilitating the deepening of the capital markets. As a regulator, the interactions with the Financial Services Commission, FSC, continues to improve. In addition, directionally, we have seen a greater openness on the part of the central bank as it relates to the importance of the capital markets. I must commend the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Nigel Clarke, for his leadership in the whole process. Last year, the government retained the services of Jamaican-born David Marston, who is a former senior advisor, deputy director, and chief risk officer of the International Monetary Fund, IMF. His mandate is to work along with the central bank and various authorities in recommending changes to the regulatory framework that will allow for the deepening of the capital markets in an effort to accelerate economic expansion. I find Mr. Marston's approach to be consultative and practical in nature and look forward to the implementation of a number of initiatives discussed. Areas such as allowable assets for institutional investors, the liquidity and price discovery mechanisms for sovereign and corporate debt, initiatives to encourage more public debt listings, and the creation of a ratings culture are critical as we aim to deepen the markets. We also commend the administration on the initiative to strengthen the institutional framework of the Bank of Jamaica via an amendment to the BOJ Act. The GSDA's primary ask in this regard is that there is representation from the non-bank financial sector in any body responsible for developing and implementing policies impacting the financial system. While we believe that directionally we are on a good path, some constraints exist that we must address if we are to fully benefit from the work being done. And I'll speak to two, and I'm glad that the Prime Minister is here. The first one has to do with the limitation placed on fund managers and securities dealers in acquiring foreign currency denominated debt securities issued by local companies, as well as a restriction on the same local companies and securities dealers to issue foreign currency debt securities. This goes counter to the notion of having a liberalized foreign currency market and is anti-competitive. We understand the concern regarding the potential impact of the capital markets on the foreign currency market. However, I want to make a few points. Given Jamaica's experience with foreign currency movement over the decades, making a significant dent on the level of dollarization in the financial system may very well take a generation. As such, for the foreseeable future, there will always be a pool of existing USD liquidity for corporates to tap into without investors having to convert from local currency to hard currency. There are companies that are natural borrowers of USD, such as BPOs and hotels, to name a few. And this is supported by banking data that shows 26% of loans are hard currency denominated. And if you were to look into the corporate space, that percentage is much higher. There are instances where a bank loan may not be the best fit. As such, these companies must tap into the capital markets. The problem occurs, however, when these companies are forced to borrow in local currency, then convert to US dollars instead of tapping into the existing pool of hard currency liquidity. This essentially creates currency pressures, the same pressure or the same problem that the authorities are trying to avoid. Secondly, given the improved outlook for the economy and the attention that Jamaica has been received internationally, it is very likely that sizable foreign currency denominated capital market transactions will attract international investors, bringing in more hard currency into the country. Thirdly, high net worth individuals that really want hard currency exposure will just simply move their funds overseas if there's a scarcity of quality local USD assets to invest in, creating a bigger problem, that of capital flight. We understand that the capital markets could cause occasional volatility in the foreign currency market. We, however, believe that the concern is overstated and that the residual risk is manageable. Our recommendation is to set a discrete time frame for relaxation of these restrictions. An appropriate time frame will allow stakeholders to plan to mitigate any resulting risk while fully capitalizing on the opportunities that will arise. The second matter that I want to discuss is that of tax inequality. As it is, regulated financial entities, with the exception of life insurance companies, are subject to a corporate income tax rate of 33 1/3%, compared to other companies taxed at 25%. Additionally, there is a tax on assets of 0.25%, which for income tax purposes is not a tax-deductible expense. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, when this tax rate was increased, some of our members had an effective tax rate of 60%. The inequality in the taxation, with asset tax in particular, came about at a time when the government of Jamaica embarked on programs to improve its fiscal situation. While the securities industry strongly opposed this implementation, one could see the government's reason for targeting the financial sector, given its transparent governance framework and a high compliance rate for the sector. Fast forward 6 years, the GOJ's fiscal situation has improved, and now the country has moved from a fiscal deficit of 3.9% of GDP to a surplus of 0.1%, and from a debt to GDP of 132.5% to close to 100% of GDP. As an industry, we are proud to have played our part, as painful as it may have been. However, now that the country is on the right track, we believe it is now time to revisit this regime. Now is the time to remove the current asset tax and bring the corporate tax rate of financial institutions in line with non-financial companies. A few points to note. The asset tax is essentially a tax on capital and limits a securities dealer's ability to execute on its market-making mandate, which is a critical function in the market's ecosystem. Further, this tax on capital is in addition to the slew of capital charges already implemented under the IMF program. Secondly, there is no other country in our region with this level of tax differentiation. And Prime Minister Motley will tell you that in Barbados, which has a more flexible regulatory regime and has just embarked on our IMF program, has adjusted its income tax rate in line with that of international business companies. We know IBCs are closer to to 0%. The circumstances, of course, are different, right? However, the point I want to make is that capital will go where it is most welcomed, and we need to ensure that the environment in which our market makers operate is conducive to the execution of their mandate.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Before I close, it would be remiss of me not to take this opportunity to mention our NCB Capital Markets-led initiative geared towards deepening the capital markets. Over the past 2 years, financial years, we have been involved in over $1.7 billion worth of capital markets and structured products transactions across the region. Last year, we would have been involved in close to half of the entire Jamaican dollar denominated private placements in terms of value executed. And would have executed under the FXCs, would have also executed a similar percentage in value of equities traded on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This year, we'll be focusing more on smaller business and market innovation. And the chairman spoke earlier about technology and being disruptive. In tandem with our commercial banking arm, there will be greater emphasis on capacity building for SMEs that have junior market listing potential. To kickstart this collaborative effort, we will waive or arrange fees for all junior market mandates signed with us between now and September 30 of this calendar year. So starting tonight, ladies and gentlemen, junior market IPOs arranged by us will be done free of broker fees. This demonstrates the NCB's financial group's commitment to our SMEs, as well as the further development of the equities markets and its potential impact on nation building. The second initiative involves digitizing the IPO process. 13 months ago, NCB Capital Markets had the distinction of executing the largest IPO in Jamaica's history. This IPO was done for Wisynco Limited, and we saw us processing over 8,000 applications, the most by far under the stock exchange dematerialized framework. The processing of these subscriptions was an administrative headache for both the NCB and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. As a result, the NCB team challenged itself to create a digital tool that could process an IPO that is 10 times that of Wisynco's in terms of applications in less than 1/10 of the time. Today, I can share with you that by the end of this calendar quarter, we'll have a paperless, end-to-end automated IPO solution plugged directly into the Jamaica Central Securities Depository. So imagine this, participating in an IPO online, whether from your home or at our location, that closes today, Tuesday, with 80,000 or more subscriptions, being able to know your allocation tomorrow, and with your refunds being remitted to you by Thursday of this week, a 2-day turnaround time. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a creation of an Amazon-like experience for investors, very fitting for the home of the world's best performing stock market. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Street Forest and Ms. Kelly and the JCSD team for helping us to make this dream a reality. In closing, the players in the capital markets stand ready and able to play their role. The evolution of our local capital markets over the years is a testament to that. I encourage the authorities to play a part in facilitating the market and its players so that we can collectively work together to move this economy away from incremental growth to growth that is transformational. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the continued interest in the JSE conference and by extension the development of the regional capital markets.
On behalf of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, as well as my colleagues at Jefferies, I'd like to extend another heartfelt welcome to this year's special conference, 50 Years of Excellence. What an accomplishment for Jamaica Stock Exchange, as well as for the country itself. It is with great pride that during this golden celebration, I'm able to partake in this tremendous milestone. Yes, this will be our 14th year as lead sponsor, but in truth, my association with the Jamaica Stock Exchange actually began in 1998. So I feel especially honored to be asked to partake in this year's event, and Marlene, thank you very much. It is always our pleasure to begin the new year at this conference, and this year especially to mark this great occasion. Jefferies is a global investment banking firm with offices in over 30 cities worldwide and nearly 4,000 employees. Jefferies provides capital markets, financial advisory services, institutional brokerage, wealth management across the global spectrum. Prime Minister, according to the IMF, Jamaica debt is expected to be below 100% of GDP for the first time in over 18 years. You and your administration should be commended. Here in my second home of Jamaica, unemployment is at an all-time low of 8.4%, as well as economic growth forecasted at 1.5 to 2% for this fiscal year. With inflation now targeted between the 4 to 6% level, Jamaica is indeed on solid upward trajectory, and congrats must accompany these facts. My father always told me something. He said, when lessons have been learned, good things usually follow. And I think all the austerity that this country has gone through, those lessons have indeed been learned. 2018 was a year which Jamaica continued to integrate itself with international bond investors. As I highlighted on the stage last year, in 2017, Jamaica bonds significantly outperformed the MB Global benchmark of sovereign debt. In a year, the index was up sharply. That was nice. But here's something even better. In 2018, and this is very important, Jamaica outperformed the benchmark in a year where the benchmark was down sharply. The MB was down 4.6% in the last year, and the Jamaica sub-index was basically flat. I cannot stress enough how valuable that is to the global investment community. That has gotten the attention just like your stock market has. I mean, to have assets to go up when the market is strong is great. But when assets don't go down as sharply, when the rest of the index falls, it's fantastic. In other words, any investor who is overweighted in Jamaica actually generated positive alpha over the last 2 years. And that's a very important thing for the institutional world. Jamaica sovereign bonds had yet another milestone in 2018. By late in the year, they were trading roughly flat in terms of spreads to the likes of Trinidad. That is a staggering development for those of us that have been following the region for decades. Trinidad has historically traded at spreads that were hundreds of basis points tight to Jamaica. My point is this: Jamaica's credit has continued to improve. And why these rating agencies have failed to take proper notice of this is quite shocking to me, to put it mildly. I've actually been very vocal about that. I mean, there are only a handful of credits out there in all the sovereign world where there's actually reduction of GDP levels as we are speaking. So what can I say about 2019? Well, emerging market spreads are trading at their elevated levels to recent history, but with the ongoing weakening of the US dollar, I view these levels as very attractive. As for Jamaica, with 10-year spreads around 300 basis points and thus trading in line with BB rated countries, a continuation of recent local positive trends in Jamaica, fundamental continues to be priced accordingly. At least all three of the major rating agencies have indicated a decent chance for an upgrade in 2019, and all I can say is finally. The global markets will be watching for more of the same from Jamaica. namely ongoing fiscal performance, signs of economic growth, signs of private sector credit growth, and the public sector retreats from its dominance of capital markets, and the country's ability to finally stand tall on its own 2 feet of years past austerity. I think it's time that I'm going to end it right there because the next speaker is far more important than myself. I want to thank again Marlene and the entire Jamaica Stock Exchange crew for letting Jeffrey share in his 50th year celebration. I look forward to seeing all of you over the next few days of the conference. And Marlene, I only hope that you ask me back for next year, but not with more money like you keep doing. Thank you very much.
Please stay with us. When we come back, we'll have the keynote address here at the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And, I am no stranger to this conference. I've done this maybe 6 times, 3 times as Prime Minister. And I've always tried to associate myself with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. It is indeed one of the great success stories of Jamaica, an institution which is now 50 years. Congratulations. The theme is one that I'm particularly interested in. When I read it first, I thought you were talking about national security, expanding our borders and securing our future. But the focus obviously is on transforming the regional economies, achieving robust economic growth. And I see why you have invited Prime Minister Motley, because she has to go through that very difficult task of transforming a regional economy. Jamaica is still going through that task. I hear the conversation shifting as if we have or we are coming out of that very difficult period. Let me hastily remind everyone, Jamaica is still in a very precarious position. We have done very well, but we are not out of the woods. The theme is also important because CARICOM, our regional body, has had new life. I did my part, my chairmanship has ended, and Mia has come in with a burst of energy, and we have managed to do more than we have done in the last decade, in the last 2 years. Great changes have happened in CARICOM. The JSC continues to be one of the best performing exchanges in the world. This performance reflects the buoyancy and growing confidence in the Jamaican economy. The Jamaica Stock Exchange continues to send the signal that our investment community has the appetite, but more importantly, it has the cash to invest. So I'm particularly happy when Jamaica is recognized for its business enterprise, its stock market, its central bank. That kind of publicity is absolutely important, and not just portraying our country as a vacation destination, but also a place where serious business is taking place. News about our performance, it's not just superficial. Profound changes are happening in our economy. We have robust NIR, the highest has been in decades. We have low inflation rate. Now, I should point out that 2015 and 2018 were not the only times
that the Jamaica Stock Exchange was number one in the world. We were number one in the world in the 1990s, somewhere about 1993. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere thereabouts. And of course, that was just before an incredible period of hyperinflation in our economy. So we were the fastest growing stock market in that period of time, but not with the same economic conditions as we have now. Now we have genuinely strong economic conditions, such as I had mentioned before, robust net international reserves. But we have low inflation rates, exceptionally low inflation rates compared to the rest of the region, to the point where our target is 4 to 6%. And of course, you would have heard that we've missed the target. We got somewhere in about 2.4%. And the population is puzzled. Why is that a matter of concern? We should be celebrating that we have exceptionally low inflation. That's my view as well. But the economists will tell you that that is also a signal about aggregate demand and growth, the potential for growth in the economy. And so good economic management calls for the targeting of the inflation that you would like to achieve relative to the growth that you would like to achieve. We have a flexible exchange rate, genuinely classified flexible exchange rate. Many persons are nervous about flexible exchange rates, but it's best for the economy. The rates are going up, they come down, they go up, they come down. That is just how a normally functioning market works. But what I really like is our public debt is consistently trending downwards. Gregory mentioned that we will be below 100% debt to GDP ratio by March when we announce the budget this year. You know, for those of you who may have forgotten, we are coming from the perilous levels of 141% of GDP, when the country was literally on the brink of bankruptcy, to know where we are. Of course, you know, I take no special credit. It is all of our sacrifice that have achieved this. And I would be giving myself a round of applause, giving yourselves a round of applause. We have interest rates, policy rates, which are extremely low, historic lows actually, and probably will get lower. So now is the time to make investments. But we also have record levels of high employment. I mean, the highest employment ever in the history of the employment statistic in Jamaica. And you would have heard the good news recently announced of further increases in employment, particularly as it relates to female unemployment. So generally, the country is doing well. There's no question about the economic performance of the country. To the point where we can hear special requests being made regarding changing the structure of taxes. And again, Stephen, I hear you. My view is that with all this success, we should be very cautious. We shouldn't be afraid to change, but we must calculate the risk of change and make changes cautiously, because it just takes one erratic move to create disruption in the negative sense of the term, because disruption is now a good word in thinking. So, Stephen, I hear you very, very well, and I listen to you very keenly. And it is a call that is being made generally. And there is, in my opinion, great merit to the call, because that could spur the economy even more. But we're here talking about the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and we're here talking about how well we have done, particularly at the macro level. But in the back of your minds, I'm sure you're wondering, then why is it that we're still not cracking that 2% ceiling for growth? What are the issues that are really holding us back? My thesis on it is that we need to do much more work at the microeconomic level. We've done well at the macroeconomic level, but we now need to pay attention to the level of operations such that we pay attention to the operations of the firm and the regulatory environment in which the firm operates and the distortions that sends the wrong signals to the firms. So government policy has to evolve to have greater emphasis on things like public sector reform, which we have talked about for a long time. It's very difficult to do. It's a political minefield, but it has to be done. We have to talk about things like improving the approval process and the general business processes of government. Business process re-engineering for government is absolutely important in order to create that regulatory environment in which firms can have regulatory certainty and can make decisions, not just basing decisions on the interest rates, inflation rate, etc., but what are the regulators going to do? How quickly can we get through the dense bureaucracy of government? And then we have to pay attention to how do we integrate technology into our operations, particularly within government operations, to support the activities of the firm. But another strategy at the microeconomic level which we have to pay close attention to, and which government has, is how do we create an ownership economy? That's one. But more so, how do we get the full utilization of all the assets of government? The government has a tremendous amount of assets. A large percentage of them, the value is not realized. The value is just sitting down there, not realized. And you see them. We have land not being used. We have factories and buildings not being used. But we have value in companies that the public isn't seeing the value in them. Because in the mind of the public, these companies can't be traded.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is about to launch its social enterprise listings. So what is this now? The stock market, which is a private enterprise, getting into social enterprise, getting into public goods. There's no reason why markets cannot be used to address social goods, public goods. There's no reason. And they do very well if properly regulated. One of the reasons why shareholders do better than voters in ensuring accountability and ensuring innovation is that shareholders have more information. And what the stock market does is, one, it ensures that the enterprise meets certain standards of accountability, both fiduciary and governance, and it ensures that there is a market for information by law, and it connects interests. So the shareholders' interest is to ensure that they hold directors to account, and directors' interest is to make sure that they meet the shareholder requirement and they maximize whatever it is that is the objective. So with the social, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, those entities which will be listed would go through a rigorous process, a vetting process of ensuring that, for example, they have good institutional structures to ensure that the project themselves are feasible and make sense. And that gives a greater level of knowledge, of information, and assurance to persons who would want to invest. Because the error in people's mind is that people are only investing to make profits. There are persons who are investing to maximize other objectives. One objective could be social good. The truth is that we all do that from time to time. We give to a cause, whether it is we give in kind, we give our labor, we give our time, we give what we can. But some people give significant resources to things that they believe are important, that helps to, for example, create a memory for their name, for example. So on the social stock market, I would give, obviously, if I'm convinced that the objective, the social objective, is a good one, that my giving would not be in vain, that there is accountability for the resources that I am giving. And that would take away a lot of the cost of giving. Because then if you're giving large sums of money, you want to know that the objective to which you're giving, that the persons who have received the funds are using it for the cause. Having a stock market in place where the companies are listed, there is a process, a very rigorous process, that gives you a certain level of insurance. So I'm certain that the Agency for Inner City Renewal, EAR, Alpha School of Music, Choose Life International, Def Can Coffee, and Praise Jamaica. These are the 5 companies with which you could describe them as social enterprises that have been vetted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange, approved to be listed, that these companies are good entities for which to put your giving, your philanthropic giving to. And I would encourage, I endorse this, and I encourage all Jamaicans to participate by giving to these companies. So I want to, again, congratulate the Jamaica Stock Exchange for this new innovation. I know it will be successful. I'm endorsing it, and I'm asking Jamaicans to participate. So it gives me great honor, in closing my presentation, to ask the representatives of these companies. The representatives are here, yes? Please, if you would join me on stage. Marlene. Of course, Professor Neville Ying is the chairman of the board of the new Social Capital Exchange. And these are representatives of the various companies that have been approved. And so it gives me a great pleasure, and it is a distinct honor to officially launch the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. So, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I want to thank you for being a very good audience, and again, congratulations to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
We've just wrapped things up here on the first day of the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. I've been your host, Javon Keys, and you're tuned into Business Access TV, serious about business.
Montego Bay is one of the fastest growing cities in the Caribbean. And this week on Wealth Magazine Business Access, Gloria Henry tells us how her role as the Assistant Vice President at the Montego Bay Free Zone and as President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce has contributed to this.
I'm Gloria Henry, Assistant Vice President with the Port Authority of Jamaica with responsibility for the Montego Bay Free Zone, and I'm also President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Gloria Henry was born in Williamsfield, St. James, South St. James actually. Part of a family of 9 children who was really shaped in a rural setting with a very urban mindset. She's a very determined, very competitive, very focused, very driven person. And those are characteristics that have been built up over the years, mainly coming from her childhood. So my childhood was very simple, a very simple one. 9 children from my parents. I was in the middle. 5 older siblings, 3 younger siblings. Poor rural community. We didn't have much in terms of entertainment, but what we have were very strict parents whose principles were constantly being taught in the home. Principles of discipline, honesty, hard work, education. We didn't have television, but we were taught to read, and we had to actually be involved in like a school setting in the home. So my father, on a Sunday evening when most children were out playing, we had to read the Bible, and we had to, explain what we understood, what we learned from reading. We were taught to help one another, to be involved in one another's lives. So the older siblings would take care of the younger ones, and when it was my turn, I had to take care of the younger ones, of course. And my parents weren't rich, actually they were poor, but we didn't know that because there was so much love and there was so much, we were taught to be satisfied with whatever was provided and to be creative in satisfying our needs. So we weren't taught to be excessive or to desire what we didn't have, basically. So my primary education, I had that at Buckingham All-Age School, which was like 2 miles away from home. So very early, it was stressful. You had to walk 2 miles to get to school every day and back. And it was one of those settings. I went to school when I was 6 years old, so I didn't have basic school. But by the time I got to school, I could read because we were, as I said, the older ones would teach, and my father as well. So I could read, so it wasn't difficult. It was one of those rural schools where there weren't a lot of resources, but at that time, the demand, I suppose, wasn't like it is now. It was really a very simple environment where you went to school and you learned whatever the teachers taught you. It was a respectful environment. Your teachers were like the gods. They were in charge. It was a community where you were taught to respect the elders, to have good manners, and anything that they told you, that pretty much was what you accepted. It was, I would say, like most rural communities, a very difficult one. There was much exposure, except for those persons who had left and come back, so whatever they told you pretty much was what you hang on to. But very early in those years, I started having a vision. Even though I didn't leave the community until I was 11 years old, I still had a vision as to where I wanted to go. I certainly knew that I didn't want to stay there. I wanted more. And that more was kind of a vision that I created for myself. So I had a journal, and I would start to journalize my life and where I wanted to go and the things I wanted to do and how I wanted to leave the community. And that opportunity came when I did my common entrance at the time, and I was successful for high school. My high school years were not very remarkable. I went to Herbert Morrison, at the time, Comprehensive High School. It was a new school, so the school itself was still trying to find its way. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because I didn't have guidance as to, career choices and so on. So my mind was centered around the traditional nurse, teaching. Later on, as I started doing food and beverage, I thought I wanted to be a dietitian as well. But I left high school with not knowing or even thinking about where I was going to go. I was still a little bit confused after high school whether I was going to do teaching or nursing. And in fact, I started on a journey that was supposed to take me into Teachers College. And I remember going to do the exam at the Teachers College one day, and teachers were in the square of Montego Bay, Sam Sharp Square, demonstrating for more pay. And I said to myself, no, I don't think this is what I wanted to do. So I ran into a colleague, a former classmate, a few weeks before, and she told me she was studying business. And, at that point I said, maybe that's what I should do. So I went to the business school and I registered, and I told my brother, and he was like, no, why would you want to do that? You're not going to, you're not going to reach far. You're probably just going to end up as a secretary or something. But that was where I went. And that journey took me through several stages. I worked in food and beverage, I worked in environment, I worked in customer service, I worked in cost control. It was really a very dynamic period for me, those years right after business school. I think because I was focused and driven, everything I did was, to me, a stepping stone to get somewhere else. I've always seen my job as not in a box, but part of a bigger picture of, providing wealth and satisfaction for the people that I serve.
Crow Jamaica Risk Management Services, RMS. Risk management has become indispensable to a company's business operations and management strategy in this complex environment nowadays. Crow Jamaica risk management experts help to turn every risk into an opportunity. We are experienced in providing customized solutions to manage risks and increase transparency and accountability of the companies. Our core services include internal audit, internal control review, corporate governance, corporate compliance, etc. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com, website www.crowjm.com.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, Fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
My first real solid job was in environment. We had a project that we were implemented, and I was part of a team that implemented Jamaica's first site-specific marine protected area. And I got involved in every aspect of it, from the environmental protection to the administrative support work, which is what I was doing in the office, to the community relations aspect of it, dealing with the public, understanding the legal framework, and that helped to create a very rounded person. That was when I started looking at wealth and my own personal finances and how I could get involved, and started learning about stock trading and, building a wealth portfolio for myself. And I decided that perhaps I needed to learn more. So I went and learned accounting and economics, and they kind of opened my mindset and kind of started creating a different perspective for me, understanding personal finances. So when my brother went away on study leave to study abroad, and his salary would come to his account, I would look at how I could help to, save and manage the monies to the point where when he came back, he was able to buy assets with the monies that were saved. And it was something that I like, and I still continue to like doing that. In my career, I've had some stepping stone positions. So I was a secretary for about 6-7 years, and during that time I made sure that I was the best secretary. So I became All Island Secretary of the Year. I was Caribbean Secretary of the Year. I moved from that into credit and loan administration. And I also made sure that I delivered not just the results for the customers that I serve, but for the organization that I worked with, which at the time was Development Bank of Jamaica. I also made sure that my customer service to me has been something that I have been very passionate about. I treat a customer the way I would want to be treated, and I am a very picky customer. I'm not very easy to get satisfaction. And so I would try to understand the needs of the customers and would try to ensure that those are satisfied. So when we did project evaluation, if there were things that I felt wasn't in the best interest of the customer, I would share that with them. And if there were ways that I needed to perhaps link them with an external source, an external party, other organizations, other institutions, I would do that. So I've always seen my job as not in a box, but part of a bigger picture of providing wealth and satisfaction for the people that I serve. And in the end, I benefit from the satisfaction of their success. So I love success, and I like to see people successful as well. When I worked at DBJ, I also explored. People always say, Gloria, you can sell a 1-foot man, you can make him think he has 3 feet. So I decided, when I wanted to acquire some personal assets for myself, I did part-time sales. And in that part-time sales, twice I was the sales rep of the year. And it was financial services that I was selling. So I decided to pursue the Jamaican Securities course. And I did very well. I was one of the top students, and I was offered 3 job opportunities, one with a financial institution, one with an insurance company. And there was one that I applied for at the Montego Bay Free Zone. Didn't know much about the Free Zone, but of course I'm from Montego Bay, so I thought perhaps this is somewhere that would be good for my career and my journey. So that was the job that I actually took. And I joined the Free Zone at a time when it was at a turning point, a very, very serious turning point in its existence. The Free Zone was designed to support foreign direct investments, primarily in garment manufacturing. And so when I joined the Free Zone, it was on the last bit of decline of the garment industry. So most of the facilities were empty. Most of the buildings were empty. In some respects, the factory side was about 28% occupied. And it was a challenge. And I remember many days sitting in my office and asking myself the question, Lord, why did I make this choice? I had 2 other options. Why did I make this choice? There has to be a bigger purpose. And, some of those faith-based and, the determination and, my mother's principles that she ingrained in me, the faith and the trust and all of that. Of course, I had to call on that many times. It was challenging, but one of the things that kept me going was seeing the number of persons that could be employed and the value of the business that Jamaica could extract from the business process outsourcing industry. And right away we got to work. I had very good leadership at the Port Authority as well as our board of directors, and they were very, they were very cognizant of the need of the contribution that the industry could make. And we got to work on supporting and building out an infrastructure that could support the growth of the business process industry. It was also on the eve of the dismantling of the telecom monopoly. Although to some respect, we had a monopoly in the Free Zone up to 2012. But that did not inhibit us from growing and from improving the business. I tried to understand every aspect of it, from the aspect of serving the stakeholders, which would be the customers and their employees, to the legal and regulatory requirements that was necessary to grow the business, to the customer's business and their end-to-end deliveries that they have to meet for their customers, to the market conditions that are required. and the different markets in which they serve. And that helped us to not just work with the customers to grow the business, but to continue to create the enabling environment, to create the linkages with external providers, to create the kind of policies that would help them to grow and to work with different sectors to grow the industry. I think the most phenomenal achievement for the Free Zone to date has been the employee growth. So within the Free Zone, we have moved employment from over 2,800 to over 8,400 at the end of last year. And that is just within the Free Zone, because we've had many customers that have migrated, some into private sector developments, who are also growing their employment. So that to me has been the most phenomenal experience. The other phenomenal experience is the growth in foreign exchange earnings. Of course, they are, complementary. There's a correlation between employment growth, of course, and foreign exchange earnings, because it means that more businesses are coming into Jamaica. That has been phenomenal as well, moving within the Free Zone from a little over 13 million to $133+ million at the end of last year. I have been part of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce for 12 years, I believe. I became a director, I think, when Lloyd B. Smith was president, and I have been working with the Chamber since then, supporting the growth and of course development of the community of Montego Bay. I live in Montego Bay, and as you know, Montego Bay is the fastest growing economic corridor in Jamaica, and the Chamber of Commerce sits in the heart of supporting that enabling environment for growth and development of the community. So we have been involved in lobbying for a number of the supporting infrastructure, from road development to the Montego Bay Convention Center, to supporting services such as the Company's Office, Firearm Licensing Authority, various supporting agencies to continue to support the growth of Montego Bay. I've worked with various presidents prior to my becoming president 2 years ago. Since I have been president, I've been working with a very dynamic board. I must say that I have a board of very accomplished, successful business persons in Montego Bay, and we're passionate about the continued growth of Montego Bay. One of the issues that we have been focusing on is really the cleaning up of downtown Montego Bay. And so we launched the Maimo Bay campaign, which has been involved in supporting the cleanup of the physical infrastructure and instilling pride in the residents and the citizens of Montego Bay. But very importantly, we have seen the impact, well, even though anecdotally, we've seen the impact of crime on the community. And our major project now is one where we're engaged with the University of the West Indies, Western Jamaica campus, to develop a crime study, a study that is focused on the serious issue of crime and the effects on the community. It will look at how crime affects the community, but very importantly, it will measure the impact on GDP, and that has wider implications for Jamaica. And we believe that study will guide us into more focused and targeted community renewal projects, crime fighting strategies, and just dealing with that monstrous problem of crime. The Chamber is also involved in keeping the social fabric of Montego Bay together. So we have a number of social events as well, fundraising events as well, and we are also focused on bringing in investments into Jamaica. So we have worked with the members of the Chinese community, members of the Indian community, various investment partners to continue to bring investments into Montego Bay. For me, at the Chamber, one of the things that I believe that I will count as success is really getting the institutional strengthening of the Chamber itself as a body, because it needs to have a very robust, resilient, and dynamic body that can bring all of the forces together in the community and be able to access funding and, to undertake the different projects. The Chamber is a non-profit organization, and our funding comes primarily from subscription, but that is not enough to undertake the mammoth responsibility that the chamber has. So we have, under my presidency, we have revised the Constitution. We have putting in various administrative supporting processes at the chamber. We've managed to get funding since then. We've got funding from the Tourism Enhancement Fund to help us with the crime study and the Miami Bay project. And we are building a platform. That is a legacy that I'm happy to leave behind. We're building a platform for Invest Montego Bay, which will connect business people in Montego Bay, investors, developers, with investors from overseas. So the biggest challenge I've had in my career is at the start not having enough funding to pursue higher learning, higher education. I've had to work and study, and that has not been easy. Full-time job, full-time study, and sometimes 2 jobs, because I have goals, and I do a 5-year projection every 5 years. Well, it's revised every year. And so I had goals as to when I would acquire assets, when I would pay off for those assets, how I would help members of my family, including my mother. My father died, very early, so I had younger siblings who were still in high school that I've had to help. And so that has been a challenge, balancing a career, balancing education, balancing a job, and not necessarily having at an early stage, the kind of academic achievements, or the academic qualifications rather, that would justify the experience and the knowledge and the talent that I knew I had. It came later on because I was able to pursue my first degree and my master's, but prior to that it was a little bit challenging getting persons to understand. Jamaicans feel that you really have to have, the academic qualification to be able to do the job. But there's a lot more to that. There's the attitude, there's the talent, there's the interest, there's the desire, there's the passion. Fortunately, I'm in an industry where that is being borne out day by day, an industry where being able to perform is not measured by your academic qualification. And I have absolutely nothing against academic qualification. Because one of the things that I did was ensure that my daughter's education would be financed once she was ready to go to university. Having gone through the struggles myself, I ensured that a foundation was laid for her so that she wouldn't have to go through that kind of struggle. I'm ruthless when it comes to delivering results, and I accept basically no excuse. I believe if there's a way to get something done, we should find that way.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
So I have always wanted to have my own business. And so every job that I've had, so I have not started my businesses yet, per se, but every job that I've had, I have treated it as if it were my own business. So I'm passionate about the bottom line, about delivering value to the customers, delivering value to the owners of the business. I'm constantly measuring the success and looking at different success quotient and how I can change that and how I can optimize that and how I can exceed the value that I delivered the year before. So I am very competitive with myself and my own performance. I do a lot of self-examination, and once a year I put myself into a retreat mode, my mind, body, and spirit, I call it, and I re-examine myself, I re-examine my successes, I re-examine what I've delivered, and I look at where I can improve. So for me, it's a lifetime of continuous improvement. And I've tried over the years, more recently than before, to balance that with a deep connection and a deep spiritual connection with God. I think the biggest misconception that people have about me is that I'm tough and difficult to get along with. I'm ruthless when it comes to delivering results, and I accept basically no excuse. I believe if there's a way to get something done, we should find that way and get it done. So persons who work with me, whether it's a voluntary effort or an effort for pay, they know that about me, that if I say something is to be delivered and it can be delivered, it should be delivered. I'm very uncompromising when it comes to quality and excellence, because those are some of the hallmarks that I use as measurement. So, as I say, I'm ruthless when it comes to success and delivering results, because I think that if a way can be found, there should be no excuse. I don't make excuses, and I don't believe in making excuses. So I actually started a charitable organization that raised funds for the Cornwall Regional Hospital. We actually created visibility around the need for proper equipment for cancer care in Jamaica. And we were very instrumental in getting interest from not just in Jamaica, but within the diaspora to help, and the attention and support of the government, the National Health Fund, which eventually bought a linear accelerator for Cornwall Regional Hospital. We raised the first set of seed funding that could help the hospital in purchasing the linear accelerator. And we're continuing with that foundation towards cancer care. I've had many relatives, including my father, who have died from cancer, and I've seen the devastation that cancer can have on the family and on the patient themselves, because the machines that we have in Jamaica up to date that treat patients for cancer are really very obsolete and outdated. And having learned that, I decided that was one of the projects that I would give my attention. And to date, we've managed to put together a group of persons who have helped, and we will continue to help to create visibility and to help persons who are unable to afford cancer care in Jamaica. Wealth to me is success in every aspect of your life. Your financial life, your personal life, your spiritual life. If you have the financial resources, that can help you to satisfy many of your needs, or all of your needs per se. But if you're able to satisfy your physical needs and your spiritual life is disoriented or disconnected, you won't have the kind of success that you desire. If your soul is not congruent with the rest of your life, to me that's not successful. So wealth is success in every aspect of your life, basically.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
The Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition was launched earlier this year to highlight the work of community organizations across Jamaica. This week on Caring Hands, we introduce to you 3 of the competition's top 6 finalists. The 6th place finalist, the We Care to Share initiative, was born out of a desire to assist the residents of the Franklin Town community in Kingston, Jamaica.
The We Care to Share initiative is a friendship evangelism outreach that goes about like a charity group, that goes about meeting the needs of our community members socially, whether it's education or even just spiritually. We had a lot of elderly persons who really don't have anybody, right? We had earlier in, I think it was December and November, we had several fires in the community. And what we actually did, we actually pitched in and said, let's rally up some stuff, let's get some grocery, let's get 1 and 2 beds donated to us to assist those persons. And certainly December was a fantastic moment for the We Care to Share initiative. We went out secretly, nobody knew we were going out, right? And we got a list from the community members, like they referred the older persons to us. And we're talking about persons who can't see. We're talking about persons who can't walk. We're talking about persons who just got a recent stroke, and persons who I think I had a 36-year-old man who got a stroke early and he really didn't have anybody to help. And you know, we actually went out there and just helped. So the Franklin Town Church of God is the We Care to Share initiative. We just actually mentioned it as an outreach or a friendship evangelism outreach. Now the good thing is that our volunteers come from the church. We're not going out there saying, hallelujah, come on, come to God and do all of this. We're saying, let us help you. Let us be there for you. And I think it makes a much better impact. Persons don't feel like you're preaching down to them. They just feel like somebody really supporting them and somebody is there. Managing our resources is perfect. We have a financial aid person. We have someone that deals with the administration end of it. And then we have myself who handle the PR aspect of it and continue. I also have a project manager, Wayne Wesley, who assists as well. And I tell you, my pastor has been very supportive. You see, when you have the support from your church family, and then when you go out into the communities and you tell them, hey, we opened a resource center for your children, they say, what? It feels so good because you know that they are a part of it. And that's what you want. First, we started out just erecting a resource center here. That was in 2010. In 2016, we did a relaunch of the resource center and then introduced our social concerns of the community. At the resource center, we offer printing service. We have a computer lab. We have an outdoor study area as well as a little library. I'll go on with something. In addition, you get one-on-one assistance, and that's the best part. We have trained teachers who give up their time, come by the lab, and you kind of get some help with homework. When we first started the resource center in 2010, right, we got some computers. You remember them big back one day? Yeah. So those were what we had in our resource center. What we did in 2016 is a relaunch. We actually restored it, we removed those, we got more modern type computers now. And the good thing is that Digicel Foundation came on board. You see, we got we call it processor, a centralized processor. So now we have all the computers that are just attached to one unit, thanks to Digicel Foundation, because trust me, we really needed it. So when the Digicel Foundation publicized the Face of Change competition, we thought, why not? I tell you, the workshop was a worthwhile experience for us because it actually helped us to come back to the drawing board. How are we going to plan for the year to assist our people that we want to assist, and who are we going to take on board? It also opened an opportunity for us to partner with other organizations who share the same mission. and that I believe was a plus to it. One of the things I like about the group that we're with, the We Care to Share initiative, is that we stand for 3 S's. We're soulful, we're sacrificial, and we're selfless. I have volunteers who come in and stay up all night just say, what are we going to do to help? And I like the fact that they're motivated by themselves to help. So we don't have to worry about volunteers one bit. Volunteers is here. But one of the challenges that we face sometimes is a timeline and the amount of persons that we would want to affect or impact. That can be a little bit challenging. Sometimes it's just too much and the resources are really not there. But the good thing is that we go out and we do that which we're called to do as Christians and as just human beings. We're here to look after our brother. We should be our brother's keeper, and I really believe in it. As the president, I really believe in it. And I try my very best at all time to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Many persons don't realize that our children are becoming fully affected either by home problem or school problem or just growing up. They're open to so much, and what's happening is that they have become withdrawn. I have 4-year-olds who are depressed, and I'm telling you, the other day he punched a wall and his hand got blistered, and when you have to look at that child and hold that child, it says a lot, right? And these are things we go out now and say, listen, let us encourage you. So what we did the other day for February 2017 is we went out into the neighboring schools and encouraged our Jesus students with a motivational tour. Boy, that was something. We went into schools where we didn't even know that they would have been so receptive. I had a child who walked over and said, boy, I mean, I take my candle that Jesus something here, and I was a guy, a little boy thing, and I was like, what happened? I can't do it, there's too much pressure, man, too much pressure. And it was remarkable just talking to him. We got calm. And we gave us some stickers that said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It was just an impact that we're looking at our children as just children, but then when we start going out and reaching them, we realize that they understand what they're called to be in today's society. We're true leaders.
The residents of the Franklintown community are absolutely grateful for the help. Just ask Colin George Cole, who has benefited from the work of the We Care to Share initiative.
For Christmas, oh my God, I get my basket and I get my bags and I get some books and pen and things like those stuff. It was great. I wasn't expecting anything in the Christmas. And Sister Georgie just come across doing a great work. She go to the community. She make us feel so wonderful, and I very appreciate that.
The most rewarding thing about giving back is actually just the feeling that you get when you help somebody. I'm talking about not doing the most exuberant things, just the simple things. You making a difference, seeing that smile, seeing that impact, seeing that change is the most remarkable thing. One hand can't clap. We need to give back. We need to support each other because we're not just here for ourselves. The world tends to be going on a selfie vibe. You see, when persons realize how important togetherness and unity is, we'll understand the necessity of supporting each other on a journey. The impact is far more far-reached, but also you can see it, it's measurable. And you want a community, a Jamaica, a world at large that realizes that supporting, helping each other makes a superb difference, and the impact itself is much more valuable than anything else. We care to share. We care to share. We care to share. We care to share.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
Before being a part of the youth club, youth will be like, no, me not come at the station because me afraid of police or the police them not nice. But actually being a part of the club, they notice that the police are actually human beings.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Over 40 years ago, the Jamaica Constabulary Force introduced police youth clubs across the island in an effort to provide positive guidance for the youth of Jamaica. As a result, the 5th place finalist in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, the Christiana Police Youth Club, was started in Christiana, Manchester.
Christiana Police Youth Club is geared towards building a better and safer and more friendly environment for the youth and citizens overall who live in and around Christiana area. The Police Youth Club was formed to get young people more actively engaged in police to citizen engagement. So the youth would be like a bridge to get people to see the human side of the police force. So we are in the CSSB part, that is the Community Safety and Security branch, where we are now doing community policing. So instead of sitting down at the station, the police will be in the community, actively engaging with people, with citizens, and so they can have a more holistic and sociable relationship. Christiana Police Youth Club has been around from about 2000. Yes, so it's 17 years. I've been a part of it for almost 11 years now.
The constitution of the club, a police officer has to be the leader. So a police officer is the leader, and separate and apart from that, other police officers get involved at various levels, whether it's in the fundraising activities, on the projects themselves, the work days, every aspect of it. The meetings, the weekly meetings are held right here at the station, and whoever is available at the time goes up and participates.
We do a monthly feeding project where we feed the homeless. We get donations from club members or business people in the community. We feed them. We are engaged in educational activities. Last year, December, we were the winner of the Manchester PYC debate competition. We are engaged in sporting activities like netball or football or so forth. And we are engaged in welfare. If we see a need to help somebody that is poorer than us or really poor, we will get donations and help them. Henceforth, that is how we came up with the idea of building a house for this girlie.
Members of the Christiana Police Youth Club have reaped various benefits over the years. One such member is the club's current president, Roseanne Swaby.
So I joined the club in August 2014, and since then, 2015, I was the assistant secretary to Ms. Shanika Davis, and 2016, I was the secretary, and since this year now, I've been the president. Since I've joined the youth club, personally I've become more responsible because I have roles I'm a play. Like being a secretary, I had to research what does being a secretary entail, so I learned a lot from being in that position.
Based on the projects that we have been doing, based on the outreach programs, based on our whole socialization with individuals, we have seen where young people have gotten jobs, schooling. They have changed their whole behavioral pattern. Seen when they come into the club and see the different environment, they are now eager to do something good, be a part of something good. So it has changed them in their behavior.
But from the inception of police youth clubs as a direct strategy to community outreach, it has reaped benefits untold. As I said before, many of our present police officers in high ranking also came from the police youth clubs. And plus, members of the youth club from the various communities will bring in new membership from the community. And even during their meetings and what is discussed and the interaction is brought back to the communities, so we know we get the impact there.
Through the Christiana Police Youth Club, many residents have since changed their opinions on the police.
First of all, we have a better relationship with the police officers, because before being a part of the youth club, youth would be like, no, me not come at the station because me afraid of police, or the police them not nice. But actually being a part of the club, they notice that the police are actually human beings and they're actually nice and they interact well with us and we learn from them and they come and they participate with us. So we have a better relationship with the police.
The relationship between the Christiana Police and the Christiana Police Youth Club is an inclusive one. It's like a relationship between a parent and a child. It is a relationship that involves partnership. Most of our outreach community programs, we integrate the Police Youth Club into it, because traditionally the Police Youth Club and the police, we get a lot of recruitment. A lot of the members of the Police Youth Club go on to become police officers. And it is a part of our community-based policing scheme and activities, because when we foster and mentor these young people, we get them into the right frame of mind, the right kind of thinking, the right kind of people to become good person in the society.
In terms of membership, the membership fluctuates because members come and go depending on if they relocate or they go to school, or I don't know if they just lose interest, right? So we have members coming in and then some coming out. Some serve for a year, some have been here for over 5 years, and then some just go for a couple of months. So being committed is one of the major problems we have with the members of the club.
Even from a younger age, like 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds become involved. It helps because there are so many negatives out there in the society. Anything positive, the earlier it starts, the better. So just like how we're on a recruitment drive now for police officers, we could be on a recruitment drive also for police youth club members.
For Christiana, I would like to see the youth getting more involved in their communities. A lot of time when I'm coming home from work, I see them on the streets loitering. They could have used that time to do something constructive, like either coming to the club, helping out their community, or be doing their homework or something.
Giving back, first, it's a sense of fulfillment. Secondly, it's a way of building your own community. Because if you don't give back to your community, then nobody outside will come and give to that community. The community is for us, and we are the ones who is responsible to build that community. It gives us a sense of hope that further down we'll have a better Jamaica, and young people do care, young people do want to make a change, and that will encourage us to continue, and we will always continue to be a face of change.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
I thought at first it was just a ruse to get some money, Then I heard it was going to be, you want to feed some people, homeless people he had seen on the street.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point, dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Finishing in 4th place in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition, the Feeding of the 5,000 is an organization that was started in 2012 by a then 17-year-old Jordan Bennett. What started out as a small birthday project has since grown into something even greater.
Let me tell you, when you see young people want to do something like this, it is a wonderful thing. And when it's, especially when it's one of your children. I thought at first it was just a ruse to get some money, you know. No, don't buy me the present or keep in the party. Just give me the money. I want to do something special. Then I heard it was going to be, he wanted to feed some people, homeless people he had seen on the street. Then I realized that I wasn't the only one who had he had approached, and he had a little budget. And all of the involvement, and people started to call me so that, you know, I hear they need a driver. And I realized it was something big.
I decided to do the feeding like a month before my birthday. So then instead of getting anything for my birthday, I just made them buy me chicken and all of that. So I did it actually the April in 2012. And having a conversation with my auntie, I was just saying, Melanie, I really want to give back. And we were talking about like the Bible and all of that, and that's how we came up with the name. So the first feeding I had on a white t-shirt, and I had a marker and I read feeding of 5,000. And I just had put a name to it, and then my brother, he came and he took some pictures. He's actually a professional photographer. So after taking the pictures, he said to me, why don't you just make a page for it on Facebook? And I said, okay. And I made a page, and the December, we did 1,000 of the same year. And then after that, it just blew up at NCU, because at that time I was at NCU in Mandeville, and it blew up. At least 40% of the students there were wearing the shirts, because I got some shirts printed, and with the logo, we got a logo, and I got some shirts printed, and I said like one for $500 at the time. Just a way to raise money for the project. And then the whole population, because then about 10 persons started wearing, and everybody wanted one. So then it blew up. And yeah, that's how it really started. It just started as a one-off project, and then it just blew up into something that I never imagined at all.
Actually, I heard about it from a classmate of mine, and then I realized it was in the area. And I just say, oh, bored one day, let me just go to one of them conferences. It wasn't me planning to be a part of this thing and everything, and everyone there was just so nice and welcoming, and that was about 3.5 years ago. And throughout that time, I've developed a love for the organization, and I love to see things flow and go well on the days, so I've gradually become more involved in the organization to the point where I'm his right hand. Our Christmas feeding is usually the biggest event we have for the year. We get the members from the Golden Age home in Vineyard Town here to come here, and we have them under a tent at the front of the studio, and they just get to, come out of their place for the day, and they get to dance with all of us, and we feed them, just make them feel good. So that's a part of the December feeding day, just making those members of the community feel nice.
Going out on the feedings was an eye-opening and life-changing experience for most of the volunteers.
We had a lot of uptown kids who, this was the first involvement or witnessing of people living a certain way in Jamaica. And they were so moved. Some started to cry, some was just, when you hand food to somebody who hasn't eaten for days, and that gratitude. And I remember one lady said, when we gave her some stuff, oh God, the children can have breakfast tomorrow. And that was so moving to me, because you know, none of them had ever faced a situation where they didn't have breakfast the next day, because there was no food. And the reality had started to come in.
I feel like every time we have a feeding day or a grocery bag drive, and we go out there, it's like almost like a cleansing of yourself and your being. When you see these people being grateful for what you're giving them, you kind of forget about all the little things that have been bothering you about your life and all of that. It's just, you just feel renewed at the end of the day when you go home after this event. You just feel like lighter with all the burdens, the little problems in your life that are, you know, different for other people. Something that we maybe hope to develop with this organization and what the government should do is to help them, not just, you know, you have different organizations like ourselves, not just feed them, but give them something to stand on, you know, maybe start some trade, some skills or something. And there's some of them on the road that really do have mental issues. They're not just homeless, but they have mental issues. So I think the government needs to step up in that case.
For anyone who has a desire to go into volunteerism, here's a bit of advice.
My advice is to start it. Just start it. Don't even think you have to be feeding 5,000. When we mentioned feeding at 5,000, we just took it out of the Bible. It was just a number. I mean, none of us had any idea that it would go on to 10,000. None of us. But just start it and don't be afraid to dream, because it costs the same amount to dream a small dream as a big dream. Just dream. And try and translate your dream into paperwork, something that somebody can read. Form an organization. I mean, it's a good way to start a business. Start a little business and get a team, get a committed team involving both children and parents. In other words, have different age represented on your team, because with age comes experience and knowledge. And luckily for him, he has people who will, you know, help him with the organizational stuff and things.
He has teachers, persons who used to work in banks and stuff like that, and always is a person that many Jamaicans today, and just all around the world, are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. So you can't really think about, oh, they're homeless. Just walk past them. Even though it's kind of something that we used to know, because this homelessness is getting so popular in Jamaica. It's just something that we used to seeing now, but that's something that I don't want my heart to get used to seeing. So, and that's why I really want to get some volunteers involved. And honestly, the volunteers get much more sometimes than the person who actually feed, because a lot of the volunteers who come with us end up going and starting their own foundation. Who I can't reach, they can. You know, and I always encourage them, because with charity, there's no competition. It's all about working together to do the greater good, which is to spread love in whichever form that is.
For anybody that would like to come out and volunteer, or any sponsors that would like to help us in our endeavor to feed more people, please contact us. We would love it so much, and we'd be so grateful, and you'll be helping our nation.
Join us next week for another episode of Caring Hands, as we share with you the top 3 finalists in the Digicel Foundation's Face of Change competition.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.